Welcome to the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast, episode 220. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else the gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Chad Wallace from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and all things firearms related. In this show, we'll be discussing a Vortex review, some Super Scope, and some mags for Tony's High Point that he can't use in New Jersey. So tonight on the podcast, we have a short crew, and it's probably going to be a fairly short show, and it's also late. So we have Tony and Zane. Who wants to go first with what they did?
And go ahead. Sure, I'll go first. No problem, Zane. Hey, what I did in guns this week was actually design and put out our 2A, 4E rally shirts that say gun control equal racism. Those things are shipped. They're $10 across the country. So if you want to wear them or want to get one, it's $10. You can wear it to any rally you want. It gives us all the same colors to sport at events. Make us look, like there's a butt ton of us in photos, because we can sprinkle throughout a crowd. No matter where the cameras go, we're there. That's what I did Wednesday. I also got in from episode 148, I think it was, an AK optic from Bushnell. And it completes my low-cost home defense carbine with the Streamlight 1L flashlight. And the AK red dot Bushnell optic, which is really a TRS 25, except with AK optic on the side. So I finished building that. I was hoping to go to the range on Wednesday over here at Fort Dix, but it seems that it's going to be covered in about a foot of snow. So I built up. I'm ready to go, and I can't. So that's what I did in guns this week.
That kind of sucks.
And I don't know if I told you guys, I put a stinger on the Rob's rifle. Stinger from Matador Arms.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know you did, though.
Yeah, that's a cup that goes over the muzzle device. That's a blast diverter. We had that. We had the Rob's rifle, which is a 5.56 AR, in port number 1 at Gun for Hire range during the February 1st diversity shoot, and just the concussion from a regular compensator, because we can't have a flash hider in Jersey. We can only have muzzle devices, which really translates into comps. And, hundreds of rounds of that being shot by new shooters, but with the same volunteer working in working in that lane. He got a headache. So I contacted Matador Arms, and they sent the Stinger out. It's available in 5.56, 9mm, and 308. I got the 5.56. It works smooth. It looks cool. And I went to port 1 and fired, 3 mags full of ammo downrange, and there was absolutely no concussion. It's awesome. Worth the money.
Nice. Yeah, those blast diverter type things work nicely, especially at indoor ranges. I mean,
dude, indoor ranges where everybody hates you, nobody likes you. Yeah, those things are awesome.
Yeah. Well, Zane, I guess it's your turn now.
I went and shot that little 9mm build a little bit. I put some hollow points through it to see about feeding issues, because I know they tend to have feeding issues. I had one hiccup, I think was magazine related. I got to put a lot more rounds through it before I can make a decision. But I mean, overall, whatever. Still stupid.
The PCP is still stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's because it's a PCP.
Well, there's barrel length and velocity and science, man.
Hey,
blah 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 blah.
At least you're giving it a try. We'll give you credit for that.
No, he's not. It's not a carbine. It's a pistol.
Yeah, it's a pistol caliber pistol.
That's right. Yeah. And it's only not a carbine because of stupid laws.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. That's dumb, but let's not go into
that. Yeah, we don't want to go into that tonight. Okay, well, let's see where we at. Oh, it's me. I guess I did a little more than you guys. A friend of mine met up with him at the range and shot his. He had just gotten a Hudson H9 pistol, so I got to run a bunch of rounds through that thing, which was pretty cool. I like the Hudson H9, so there's that. Shot some steel and some other stuff, and got those Peltor Tactical 500s that they sent for review. I was wearing those. Those actually so far are working pretty good, so gotta say I like those so far. They're good. The Bluetooth's kind of cool in them, so you can hear beeps. Like if you're using your phone as a timer or something, you could run the Bluetooth and it'll beep in your ear instead of outside your ear. It's kind of nice that way. We had a lot of fun. Wasted a lot of ammo, I think, but got to shoot some cool guns, and that's what I did. And of course, unlike Tony, our range, we've had nice weather, so it's like 60 degrees outside and sunny. So can't go wrong with that. I guess we'll move on to the announcements. Bandwidth sponsor is Patriot Patch Co. There are new patches for pre-order, which I didn't see any for pre-order, but they do for the Patch of the Month Club. They did show a release of what that's going to be, and for the life of me, I can't remember. And I'm going to just announce it next week. Maybe I'll look it up. If you want to support us, go to firearmsradio.tv/pledge gun gear review podcast, and you can pledge your affection for our podcast. If you're shopping Amazon, use the affiliate link at firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. If you want to donate stuff from Black Bag Resources to the 2A4E diversity shoot, anything you buy with the code Simon Says Train will be donated to the diversity shoot. And
hey,
since yeah,
dude, okay, it's cute. The patch of the month this month is really cute.
Okay,
it's the battle bunny. It's a bunny rabbit in a tank with what looks like an AK, looks like a Russian tank, so like T-72-ish, firing Easter eggs. Oh, it's a cute patch.
Okay,
dude, it's hilarious.
Okay, well now we know what it looks like. And I guess since our buddy Rob is not here tonight, I guess I'll read the disclaimer for you guys. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. Viewer discretion is advised. This is especially true on live shows. And Sean's not here.
You flubbed it just like Rob does. You flubbed it just like Rob does too. Awesome.
It's in it. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things. So what am I supposed to do? I mean, it's kind of, you have to flub it somehow. We don't, like the other shows have it like pre-recorded and just use it, but we're not that fancy here.
Yeah, we don't plan anything.
Nope. Well, I'm bringing you a review tonight of the Vortex Viper PST Gen 2 5-25x50. That's a mouthful. I'm not going to show it much to you because I have not dismounted it from the rifle, and the rifle's not exactly something you can hold up next to the webcam very easy. About the only time I'll show it to you is when I show you the zero stop. If you have looked into optics, you really have probably already known the name Vortex. They make scopes from really the beginner, even price range, to the professional, and their price range also. They did send this for review. It's kind of geared more towards an expert level user, but there's certain beginners that could get a useful scope out of this. The 5-25 Viper is a first focal plane scope with lots of features. It has their standard, XD glass, XR coatings, which basically make images clearer, sharper, better color, better light transmission, and some anti-reflective properties. Of course, I don't have any way to check this except my vision. So you get my input and that's what you get. The view through the glass is sharp, at least when it's sunny. And like I said in the review, I'll go on to that a little bit later. Doesn't seem to distort any colors. It does have really good light transmission compared to other scopes I've used. Probably the 30 millimeter main tube and the 50 millimeter objective helps aid in this. Since this one it's a first focal plane, uses their MRAD EBR2C illuminated reticle. And as the name of the scope, it's also a mouthful. And since it's first focal plane reticle, the size of the reticle stays constant. So basically, the MRAD marks on the scope, no matter what the magnification is set at, stays the same, which gives it the ability, you can, if you know how to use it, you can measure a target and kind of figure out the range at any magnification. Some second focal plane scopes, you have to be at a certain magnification for the hash marks to be right.
So to clarify, the way you said it was kind of hinky, but I know what you mean. To clarify, as you zoom in and out, the reticle also zooms in and out. So your BDC or your drop, whatever the reticle is, zooms with it, so you can use your mil dots, or you said it's mil dot or MOA.
It's kind of mil dot because it's a MRAD reticle. It's not really dots.
Yeah. Right, mils though. So
yes,
your mils zoom with. Okay, so I wanted to clarify that because the way you said it was a little.
Yeah, weird. No, thank you. That I perfectly understand what you're saying. So that way people won't send us hate mail. And I'll give them Tony's email address to send it to.
Works for me.
See, now you made me lose my place.
My bad.
You're old.
Yeah, that's okay. You can also, with this style reticle, it makes it easy to adjust. If you can see, like you shoot something, you see, okay, I shot 2 mils low, you can instantly adjust for that with either the reticle, just hold 2 mils high, or you can adjust the turret up 2 mils. Gives you that ability. It is a semi-Christmas tree style reticle, if that means anything. It's got all these marks that kind of look like a Christmas tree. There are pictures of the reticle in the actual review on the Firearms Insider, so you can go there and check those out. Basically, the Christmas tree style holds are so you can hold for windage or moving targets. That's about all I'm going to go into it. There is a link to the MRAD reticle instructions from their site in the article. It is illuminated red. The on-off dial is on the outside of the objective adjustment, which is pretty standard right here. And it has basically on and off between each setting. It has 10 illumination settings, but it is not a daylight visible reticle unless it's dusk or something like that. So basically it's low light, bad weather, then you can see it. If you do not like mil reticles, they do make an MOA version for the people like MOA version of a scope. It has tactical style turrets. A lot of the scopes in this class have that. I like the turrets. They have decent clicks to them. They're not small. They're not large. They have a knurling on them that's useful. It gives you good purchase on it. I did like that. They don't stick up super high. Like that also. Since it's an MRAD scope, the adjustments are 0.1 mils per click, and there are lines on the knobs for up, down, and left, right, and also larger marks for 1 full mil adjustment. So there is also on the elevation adjustment what they call a radius bar. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, you can kind of see it. It's a fiber optic little deal on top of the turret. And basically, you can see it just kind of by like barely moving your head to see if it's zeroed or if it's elsewhere in your adjustments on there, so you can kind of tell where you're at just quickly. On this particular scope, it does have a zero stop. They updated the zero stop from the Gen 1, and that's part of the updates they did for the Gen 2, and they used their Razor style zero stop. And it's a little kind of complicated to adjust it if you do it wrong. If you follow their instructions from the beginning, then it's not too bad. But of course, as we know, we all read instructions. So I basically had to go back through and reset the zero stop. And
you read instructions after everything goes wrong.
Well, yeah, I looked at it. I'm like, oh, I should have done this first. So in the review, I'll go over a little bit kind of how to adjust the zero stop, even though they have decent instructions. You rotate the turret all the way counterclockwise until you actually feel the zero stop that's set. Then there's 3 set screws, you loosen them that hold the zero stop on. You pull the knob up and off. You know, it's got an O-ring, so there's some resistance. And then you have another turret under there that is now the turret lock. So you loosen those set screws and you adjust it for whatever cartridge you're using, etc., etc. You tighten down the lock screws again. Now you slide the zero stop back on, align the 0/radius bar with the zero mark on the scope body, and tighten those set screws. Now your zero stop's adjusted. That's the easiest way I can explain it. It's actually a little easier than their instructions. The zero stop is wonderful, by the way. I can show it a little bit to you. Basically, it's here. You can run it around wherever, and it comes back to a hard stop, and it's a hard stop. You'd have to like refund that thing with a pair of pliers to get it to break. Now, we'll go into this thing. As I said, I shot it it was kind of snow for here. So it was wet, crappy snow. It can handle the elements, you know, it's standard waterproof, shockproof, fogproof, all that stuff. I did use it in snow and rain, didn't fog up, didn't like get anything inside it. So that works. As far as the tracking, I didn't set up an actual, you know, measure out 100 yards or 100 meters and track it. All I did was shoot a target, run it a full turn, shoot it, run it back, shoot it. So for me, that's fine. They do use a precision spring and erector system to help maintain repeatability. So I think you probably will find that in this class of scope, the repeatability is going to be worthwhile. Now, when I said earlier the clarity was nice when it was sunny, when the snow came in, I purposely took it to the range to shoot it because I was hoping for crappy weather to shoot the scope in. At lower magnifications, say 5 to 10, you know, it wasn't too bad, but you bump it up to the 20, 25 mark, and it didn't impress me. There's some pictures in the review. It just wasn't as clear. The clarity just wasn't as good as I was really hoping, or had been actually probably led to believe by other reviews of this scope. But the light transmission was still okay for the bad weather. That's a big plus. If I was using this for hunting and it was bad weather, I probably wouldn't. I would say it's good for 300-400 yards. It's just, I don't think you could positively ID a target like a deer or something past that with it. But another drawback for hunting is it weighs almost 2 pounds. So it's not really designed as a hunting scope. It's more of a precision rifle scope. But if you're using it on a varmint rifle, you're not hiking it through the woods. So there is that. Now, if you have decent weather, I'm sure you could see anything out to 1,000 yards, because when the sun was shining, it was awesome clarity. It's a nice optics. The best thing probably of Vortex scopes, all of their line, is their no questions asked warranty. Pretty much, you break it, they'll pretty much fix it. I have heard from long range shooters that the Viper PST Gen 2 is probably one of the best entry level scopes. Could be. I've used a couple others that I thought in that price range were a little better clarity in bad weather. But, it's kind of one of those things. You can't beat the warranty. That's one of the big pluses. And Vortex makes so many different types of scopes. I'm sure you can find one that you might want from them. So I'll go into the Firearms Insider review. 8 key points: claim to fame, quality long range scope, target market, tactical shooters, precision rifle series shooters, long range hunters, long range just plain shooters. Features and benefits, like I said, 5 to 25 magnification, 50 millimeter objective lens, first focal plane reticle. It does have their MRAD EBR2C illuminated etched reticle, the 30 millimeter tube, the turrets, the Razor Zero Stop, the XD glass, XR coatings, the waterproof shockproof, the radius bar. It is 16 inches in length, weighs 31.2 ounces, has a 3.4 inch eye relief, and it does have their VIP warranty. Like I said before, you can get it with an MOA reticle. They do also make it with a second focal plane reticle if that is your thing. There's a link to an Amazon purchaser review in there. Price point, MSRP is $1,399.99. Retail is $1,099 on Amazon or Brownells. So if you need it now, get it at Amazon or Brownells. So our rating, you got something? Nope.
No, I was just looking at the weight, but go ahead, finish it up. And
okay, I'm about done anyway. Our rating, the pros, I gave it the Zero Stop, the MRAD reticle, first focal plane, the illuminated reticle, the large knobs, the nice adjustment clicks, and the radius bar is kind of cool. The cons, it is not the clearest in bad weather. The Zero Stop adjustment is kind of weird, and it is heavy. So I gave it a score of 7, which is good. Okay, Tony, hit it.
Yeah, I was just looking it up because when you gave that weight, I'm like, that's pretty heavy. So I went looking for stuff, and we talked about this company before, Athlon Optics.
Yeah.
Makes an Aries BTR that's 4.5 by 27 by 50. First focal plane, illuminated, mil reticle, $849.99, and it weighs a pound, 1.3 pounds.
Right.
So I'm like, this is about,
and it's in about the same price range, correct?
$849.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Look, Vortex is cool. I have no idea what this glass looks like. I mean, I'll just go ahead and be fair.
Right.
I'm just matching up numbers right now, and the numbers on the Vortex it's heavy. The glass didn't look that great in anything other than bright sunshine. I think I used the Viper 1-6 when I was in Stone Mountain at the machine gun shooting the Leonidas 300 blackout upper, and it was overcast that day. It wasn't bright, but the glass looked good. It wasn't inclement weather. It was just overcast.
Right.
So
I've looked through one of the Viper 1-6s, and I also think that it is a clearer scope, but also as you go up in magnification, that's where you run into more problems. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
optics aren't my thing. Like high end, for me, this is high end. We'll wait till the next one. But it's I really haven't worked a precision rifle with a really good glass. One of those things I want to do, but
Yeah.
it's not on that list yet because I got a lot of other things I'm doing right now.
Right. I also know from talking to Vortex that some of their newer models are coming in. They're trying to cut some of the weight. Uh, I can't remember which model it is, but they just came out with like another Gen 2 or something, and it's a little bit lighter, or they're keeping the same name. Don't quote me on any of this stuff, but I do remember hearing them say that they're trying to cut the weight of some of their optics.
Yeah, I think what happened was Vortex, because a lot of their stuff is made in China. I don't know what's made in America and what's not. But
Right.
they did something different, which was check the quality control and not accept garbage that came in.
Right.
So it's like they're not taking everything that walks in the door. If it stinks, they send it back and fix this. Come with
This
better
one,
material.
this one's made in the Philippines ones, which
Okay.
I think a lot of the Viper series I think are that. But yeah, they like their lower cost ones that are made in China, they do keep quality control on, I know. So
And it's good. I mean, what can you afford? What can't you afford? You want American made glass. Good luck with that. And I hope your wallet is deep. Mine isn't.
yeah, I hear you. So I guess we'll get into the product spotlights.
Woohoo.
And first up, we have the new Steiner M7XI 4 to 28 by 56 scope with an MSRP. I had to convert it from euros, so I just kind of converted it and came close. Around $6,500 US.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I could put it on. I could put it on my Spikes rifle from last week.
Exactly. Okay. I don't know. It looks cool, but yeah, I don't know. It's one of the new style, super smart scopes, I guess, is the best intelligent firing solution scopes, however you want to put it. So what
Well,
they did.
in the first paragraph on their site, they use sniper and special forces, and that's even before you get a second paragraph.
Oh,
So
yeah.
And it's good.
It's got to be legit, right?
Oh,
And
it's
it's
got to
good.
be. It's got to be the best ever. But I also in the show notes threw in the Firearms blog, their little write up on it also.
You mean
Just
useless
because,
blurb that they wrote that provided no information?
well, it provided a little bit more than Steiner's website.
Yeah.
So that's why I put it in there, because there's not tons of information on this yet. I think they released it at, what is it, the Euro show?
The IWA.
Yeah.
Yeah. European Shot Show.
Yep. So basically what it is like they said, 4 to 28 scope. It has a built-in ballistic calculator and sensor to determine bullet point impact, real-time temperature, air pressure, inclination, wind drift at the scope. And you just turn the turrets until the distance and wind correction on the display matches the information provided by your spotter or target. And now we can get into
Now,
go ahead.
This has a wind meter on it, basically. Is that what they're saying?
Yep.
So
and
again, I've said on the show many times, I'm not a long range expert, but isn't
wind
the wind
at the muzzle
target
does,
a lot more effective on the bullet than the wind at the muzzle?
yes,
It's
but
got a windsock. It's got a windsock that it launches out of right above the glass, and it flies down range to wherever you shoot, and then it sticks in the ground.
that would be sweet.
Listen, I like this kind of stuff because I don't like doing math. And,
Oh yeah,
like,
I mean,
so like this is totally like right up my alley. But okay, we'll let you talk more about it, I guess.
yeah, okay. Well, I like stuff like this too because it's cool, and I don't like doing math in my head either. So if all I have to do is push a button, that's way better for me.
See, I look at it a different way. These expensive scopes develop this, innovate this, come out with this at the price range they are. Fast forward like 4 years, and UTG is making this for like $500.
Yeah,
I'm liking it.
that's how all technology works usually. Is I mean, something first comes out and it's astronomical price for most people, and then as more people buy it, as the technology, other people start using it, and the prices come down. It uses a built-in display, gives you information about leveling, current turret settings, target distance, and the bullet in use. Display and user interface can be customized to user needs. Information can be moved freely or can be deactivated if needed via smartphone app with a Bluetooth connection. So the scope has Bluetooth in it. Now, we said the ballistic calculator. It says it has a short overall length. Oh, man, I got to convert this stuff. Where's my calculator at? It's 390.
It's about yay long.
It's about yay long. Oh, geez. 390 millimeters. I got to convert all these now. Jeez. So what is that? 1.5 inches? Or am I doing that right?
Yeah, it's 1.5 inch long scope.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm like. Okay. No, it's got to be longer than that. 1.5 inches. What are you guys doing to me? You can see we need this scope to do the math for me. I told you guys we don't do math here. Why do you do that? I give up.
How many millimeters is it?
390. And there's what? 25 millimeters in an inch.
Yeah, it's 4 feet long.
It's about 16 inches long.
So it's 15 inches. Yeah. So it's the same,
what you said, 60 inches long.
So it's the same
15 and a half,
same length as basically this thing.
It's a yard.
Yeah. See, I don't know why they do this, because then they give you the eye relief and it's 3.54 inches. They give it to you in inches. Okay, well, give me all of it in inches. Okay, never mind. So
yeah.
Tell me what 1,150 grams is while I'm working on this.
1,150 grams.
It has low profile turrets, which don't look very low profile to me. It uses a 34 millimeter tube. Yada yada. Let's see, am I missing anything here? No. Basically, this is your do everything scope from Steiner. Which I think it's cool. I like it.
Uh-huh.
But, it's one of those things. It's expensive. Okay.
40 grams, or it's 40 ounces. So what's that, 2.5 pounds?
Yeah. Which isn't bad considering all the electronics that are in it. I mean,
so this is
I just talked about it
at a much cheaper price.
Basically, except you don't basically that's what it is. It's a tracking point that you can actually use.
I was gonna say, but with tracking point, like, you can press the trigger all you want, but it won't fire until your crosshairs line up where they should be.
Right. This will fire all day long.
This just does your ballistic calculations for you and your firing solution.
Correct.
But it's the truth, right? It's what I've been saying. As time goes by, tracking point was the big thing in 2012. 6 years later, and it was at $25,000, between $15,000 and $25,000. Now you're at 2018, 6 years later, and now the price is down to $6,000 for Steiner, having almost the same thing. Again, you're pulling on your own trigger, but
which is actually better in my opinion. But
well, that's what everybody had a problem with the tracking point in the first place. They wanted to pull their own trigger. So again, improvements, half the price or even third the price. I can't do maths. A quarter the price. There you go.
I just hope people don't like. I love technology and I love advancements in it, but I just hope people don't like forget how to actually do firing solutions and stuff. Because I feel like that's kind of what's happening with red dots. People like aren't even learning how to shoot irons anymore. Which I don't know. I like old school stuff.
No, I understand because everything can break, even iron sights. But the track record is iron sights hold up better than other things. And and you need to know how to do the math because you might need it someday.
I find I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Iron sights are very important. I don't think it's the ultimate importance, especially for as little as some people shoot. The Marine Corps changed over to using red dots. Optics, excuse me. Just training people on optics. It's not training people with iron sights. The Rob rifle that I built for the diversity shoot has no iron sights whatsoever. It just has the Holosun red dot. My thing is just to have people hitting and a positive reinforcement of them hitting what they're aiming at with the red dot. So optics a good thing. If you want to learn something else, go ahead. If it falls off, it falls off. It's going to be a lost art. Hey, people used to hand load. People used to load black powder. Times change, technology advances, and stuff gets left behind.
Oh yeah, and I love the fact that it makes things easier and stuff. But I mean, I'm trying to. I guess the iron's not the best example, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's very neat to be able to make a wind call and then, dial in your firing solution, and like I remember doing that with iron sights in the Marines. That was just dialing wind and elevation,
but it was awesome, right?
But it was cool. You could do that. Like at 500 yards, I could do a couple clicks and make. Do some quick math in my head and hit a man-sized target. I don't know. It's just kind of neat to be able to do. Like I said, like you said, technology comes and replaces things, and some things need to die. But I do think it's a cool thing to be able to do that if you're into that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people who are into precision shooting, that's half of the fun, and that's half of the game is doing all that stuff. I think you take away a lot of purity when you start doing stuff like this. Again, right. I don't shoot long range precision, so I could be way off base. But this is kind of how I feel.
I like the fact that stuff like this is out. I'm glad. Again, the more it's out, the more it grows. The longer it's out, the cheaper it'll get when other companies make it. Because I probably will never own a Steiner just because of price point alone. But hey, listen, if you have $6,000 laying around and want to put it on a precision rifle, go ahead.
Or if you have $6,000 laying around and want to donate one of these to the 2A4E diversity shoot.
Let me say, if you have $6,000 laying around, you can just give me the $6,000. I don't really need it.
Yeah, that's you could do a lot more with the $6,000.
Yeah, I could do a lot more with the $6,000. We wouldn't be on the world's oldest iPad. Talking to you right now.
Hey, I'm on the world's oldest laptop, so.
Well, the other thing to kind of bring it back, because what I'm doing these days, the other thing to consider with this is, so there's the purity of the sport aspect that I just talked about. But if you look at the other side, which is typically where I go with everything, practical use and quote unquote tactical use, whatever you want to call it, the ability to quickly run a dope down and get a shot off can save lives. So,
yeah,
that's a thing. I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. Like the ability to work your firing solution really, really quick. I hope I'm using that correctly. But that's a thing. Like,
Oh yeah, especially like military. Yeah, I mean, if you have to think about it, I mean that 5 seconds could mean a lot. I mean, or whatever it is. So I get what you're saying, Zane. Whatever words you're using, it works for me. Because
Zane's just yelling out words that he's heard somewhere before.
Yeah.
Well, firing solution on the back end. Hike.
Okay. Well, I guess.
Oh, I was muted. I was muted. But you You'd have had to timestamp me anyway, so it's all good.
Oh, good. He muted himself. Good thing I messed up that disclaimer earlier.
That was great.
Now, okay, so now we went from super high class Steiner scope to the Red Ball Sports 20 round high point magazines.
You can't buy class like this.
Okay, and luckily we have Tony here to talk about them. The MSRP is $24.99 to $27.99. Basically, they've been making a 20 round 9mm high point magazine, and they recently came out with a 45 caliber 20 round high point carbine magazine, which is really about it. So you don't, if they're kind of the new 45 caliber one is kind of, it's a single double stack.
What?
Yeah, it's a single double stack. You must have missed that. Well, the top part's single stack because that's where it goes into your high point, and then the bottom part is like a double stack magazine. So it's like single stack, and then as you get 10 rounds in it or whatever, it becomes a double stack.
So it's like a double stack magazine with a single feed lip, but it tapers halfway down the mag.
Yes, it's
outside of the pistol grip.
Think like Surefire 60 round magazine.
Okay, got it. Yep.
Yeah, well, it has to go outside of the pistol grip. I'm just not seeing it on here. Maybe I see it when it's sideways. Okay, I see it now.
Yeah,
I see it now. All right,
and it's only the 45 cal one.
Yeah.
So basically, they have those out. So for you high point fans, what did you think of the ones you had in the 9mm, Tony?
Understand, I use 9mm. I had to cross a border just to use the 9mm 20 round magazines and make range time for that. So what I did was I ordered two Pro Mag 15 rounders, and I got the 20 round 9mm Red Ball mags, and had quite a frustrating day at the range with every magazine, both the Red Ball and the Pro Mag. Pro Mag hung up way more than the Red Ball, and to be fair, number of rounds shot through, I think I fired like 200 rounds. Red Ball started feeding more reliably. It was the springs were tight. It was just a really tight brand new mag that I feel needs to be broken in more. And if it wasn't for the stupid laws in this state, I'd probably already have this broken in. But when you have to go into another state and schedule range time just to shoot it, it's freaking ridiculous. So that's what's cut down on my time. I don't think it's a deal breaker because they're like $25, if not a little bit less when you can find them somewhere or where you buy them. So pick up a couple and try them out and break them in, or pick up one and try it out and break it in. I don't think it's a bad product. I think these mags are actually better built than the factory 9mm. 100%. I think they're better built than the factory 9mm mags. It's just, it has a really strong spring in it, and you got to work it.
Work it, Tony.
What was that?
You work it, Tony.
I worked the snot out of it. And luckily I had... Okay, let me explain how boring it is to test out magazines, especially when you're loading 20 and 15 rounders. It's like watching paint dry because you want to do stuff, but you have to load these slow magazines. They sent me two, plus I had the two 15 rounders. This is all single stack. Yeah, so you load them up, and now I had the RE Factory Tactical Targets and the IQ targets and the Dead Man Hand training cards. So I ran drills with them. And they were hanging up and a little frustrating and messing up my time. But the Pro Mags got so bad, I just tossed them aside and ran it with the Red Balls. So comparing the two, yeah, Red Ball wins, but nothing was running smoothly. But I think with time, Red Balls will smooth out.
Sweet. Thanks for the input. That's always good to have.
Yep.
And I doubt Zane will have anything to say about these because he doesn't even know what a high point is. So
I actually used to own a high point. I had a 9-point. What is it? The 9mm carbine. I had one
995.
No, I guess 12, 13 years ago. I bought it when I was 18 and sold it when I was 19.
Okay. when you could do that in Florida.
Yeah, right.
No. Hold on. Oh, I'm getting into politics. Never mind. We do have some listener feedback from our buddy Cody Gappa. So Sean's fan. It says, Chad, you did wonderfully with the True Blue Gun Lube. I am impressed with your testing and honesty with the Teflon-like heating point. And I am considering using some on my MPX CZ Evo 3. But, well, I'll correct it. Both of them being a PCC and a fast-paced shooting pistols should support their round counts. Thank you for being a diligent and enlightening host. Over whoever that other guy was who bought a Benchmade and never finished the review. Well, thanks, Cody. I appreciate that.
Oh, that was awesome.
I need to message that other guy. I'm glad he said something. I need to message that guy.
He says, Rob, thanks for your consistency in preaching the show disclaimer, along with your enthusiasm for being a long-range shooter. You truly make me want to be a long-range guy. So I live vicariously through your experience. That is till I snap back to reality and start on the hunt for close-range paper. Zane, we all know your love for PCCs. Sun's out, guns out. Your hate fuels the fire, and I love you for it.
Cheers, mate.
So burn, baby. Burn. Keep it up, and I will always putting your opinions out there. Tony, hands down, the biggest internet gun expert out there. You give it your all, from the 2A4E to the 400 or less PCC, PDW, HDW, GTFO, my house gun. You really are great at bringing new people into the fold and simultaneously crushing companies with just pure vaporware. That was our great feedback. I got a kick out of it when it came into the email and I read it and I was like, "Oh, this is funny."
It's pretty good,
dude. That was actually funny. That's someone who pays attention to the show. Also got someone else. I got something I sent you guys in the text message. I'm not going to go over it. It's just from Drew, and he owns a Diamondback 308. And wanted us, he said, spoke about it at the Great American Outdoor Show and said I was going to talk about it the next week. I guess he missed me bringing it up the next week, and Zane crushing it. Yet again.
I think that was pre-show.
It might have been pre-show.
I don't think we did that on air.
Yeah.
That's
either way.
Yeah, so what happened was I went to the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's a 9-day show. I went for 4 days. And that was really, really long. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I was at the Great American Outdoor Show. I met Diamondback reps. We talked about it. I told them about the show we did. We ripped Diamondback a new backside. I wasn't so bad. Zane was openly hostile.
Oh, I was pretty hostile too.
Chad was just pure evil. And that was on, I think I saw them on a Monday or a Sunday. On Monday, they didn't like me after they listened to the show. So we had a conversation.
It's kind of cool they listened to the show, though.
They actually listened to the show, which you got to give it to them. But it was like 5 of them sitting in a room listening to us just rip apart their company, including their website and their made-up words and advertising, which no one really appreciates. So we had the conversation. They explained a lot of stuff, and I felt, okay, listen, they want to send us some stuff to T&E. Great. Stand-up people, real nice people. That's all. Cody, great guy. He's their designer. Told me a lot about their guns. Every one of them leaves the factory, they fire it. All right, great. I come back the next week. Let's say, hey guys, yeah, I was out there and I hung out with Diamondback and blah blah. And Zane just goes in on him again.
Well, I got to put my hands on one, a 308 pattern. I can't remember if it was 308 or 6.5, but it was the 308 pattern gun, the big gun.
Right.
And the first thing I do when I look at any AR type gun, so look at Castle Nut. I want to see how well it's staked, because arguably it's important, arguably it's not important, but to me that shows attention to detail, and it shows a little bit of quality. There was no stake on this castle nut. I don't know if they usually do or not, but there wasn't one. And so then I went to pull the bolt back, and it was just the I don't know if it's because this gun didn't have any lube on it, maybe because it was brand new or what, but it was just, it felt like the bolt was wrapped in sandpaper as I
That's
was pulling,
exactly the
like
way I felt.
and I put the chamber flag back in the bolt, and I just put it back down, and I walked away. So I didn't really. Actually, I do think I took the bolt out, but I can't remember, because I usually look at the stakes on the gas key too,
Right.
just to see what they look like.
See, and like,
Yeah,
But I
you
can't
said-
remember.
like with me,
Yeah.
the one they had at the store was it was a 6.5, but same 308 pattern. It felt like sandpaper also. The machining on the barrel was not very good. But what the other thing that just I could not get away from was, if you look down the receiver rail into the handguard, and then all of a sudden, if you look at the handguard, the top receiver rail had a little teeny, like, I guess, bend, or whatever you want to call it, like a dent, kind of. It just kind of grooved and just kind of went just a little bit. And even the guy at the gun store was like, yeah, I'm like, does this have like a little wow dent in it? He goes, yeah, it's just made that way. I noticed it too. So those pretty much, to me, just, that's it. I'm now, yeah, they probably go bang.
The thing is, you can get away with a lot more in an AR-15. AR-10s are a lot more finicky. Like, they don't like bad tolerances and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never shot one. I will say that. I would looked at it, and I was like, yeah, no, and I just put it down.
right. And Tony had a different experience at the outdoor show, right?
Yeah, they had. It seemed well made. I checked out the staking in their bow carrier group, and I said this last time. You can go back. It's not the deepest staking I've seen, because I've seen some people just beat those those screws in there like, whoa, what were you expecting? But it was there. I'd really like to get a chance to check some of their stuff out. I think I'll call them this week. I was just looking through their cards, and see what we can get if we can get something going. Also, I want to check out their one of their pistols. Is called the 2 Amend. I think it's something like that. They
Is that
have
an AR pattern pistol or like a?
I think
it's
it's
a striker fired
pistol.
pack,
Yeah.
like a pistol.
double stack. I think it can hold up to 15 round mags. They have 10 and 15 round mags for it. Want to check it out. It's kind of sort of new from them, and it's a different design, because some of their earlier stuff was blocky. This isn't so much.
I'm pretty sure there's factories up around where Rob lives. Maybe me and Rob will go knock on the door.
What?
Hey, we're from that show. Can we come in?
Just wear your 2A4E shirts and just pretend you were at the diversity shoot.
Yeah.
And say Tony sent you down. Don't say you were at the show.
Yeah. No, Tony said it was cool if we stopped by.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but Drew
those
wanted
are our
us to talk
thoughts.
about it. Drew wanted us to talk about it. Drew has a AR-10 pattern, Diamondback. Said the thing
And he said
like
his
about
runs.
His runs.
He said his runs. So I mean, he's actually shot one. You haven't shot one, have you, Tony?
No.
Have you, Chad? Actually shot one?
I have not actually shot one. The other thing.
So his runs. I mean, we don't know how vigorously he runs it, but.
Well, did you read that?
His charging hand. Yeah, the rapid charging handle wouldn't fit. So that's either a tolerance issue, or it's not. Well, I would say built to mil spec, but I don't really think there is mil spec on AR-10.
AR-10, yeah.
There's no mil spec.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, and he said he's a lefty, and he was wanting to use that particular charging handle because it was ambidextrous. All charging handles are ambidextrous. You're using it wrong.
No,
Sorry.
man. All charging handles should be ambidextrous, but an A2 charging handle is terrible.
It's
I feel
ambidextrous.
his pain on that one. See, I
It's
use a charging
ambidextrous.
handle like that too. I use a charging handle like he does with a thumb and forefinger on the side.
Yeah,
So I know what he
incorrectly.
means.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
know what
mean,
everybody
you
means.
say
You're running
potato.
it. You're running it wrong. Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's like your opinion, man.
Yeah, you
No,
know
no,
how,
that's the way it works. Everybody decided to do something different and rack it from the side.
and
I
if it,
It's
can't
like,
I can't rack the gun, so I can't rack the gun with my cheek weld the way you do it, like with
hey,
two fingers over the top. I
if you
can't
want
do
an
it without breaking
ambidextrous,
cheek weld.
if you want an ambidextrous AR, Brownells is making their retro AR-10 that has
there you
the
go.
charging handle in the top under the handle, so it's
And you
ambidextrous. Doesn't matter; it's right there. You can use it.
and then you
Iron
can learn
sights.
and then you could learn why they changed that
Yeah,
because it gets
exactly.
hot. I, I, it's one of the funnier things that I'm listening to everybody wanting their retro everything without knowing why retro is retro because they improved upon the design. That's why it's retro.
Hey man, if you
Um,
want retro, go get yourself uh an old like musket or something, because that's retro.
uh-huh. Retro is retro, but retro means they developed it, it became mature, and it became better as a system. Um, those first generation ARs, really cool. I like them because of the historical value. But if you're going to compare a
Oh,
M16A1 type from Brownells or even the one that Colt makes, and then compare it to something with a Geisley trigger in it, um, yeah, you're going to be severely disappointed.
yeah.
Do Brownells retro their original clones? Do they have the 1 in 12 twist barrel still, or did they at least like use a modern twist rate on the
I
barrel?
think they
Anybody
used a
know?
modern twist rate, if I
Because
remember. But
that
I,
would make
don't
more sense.
don't quote me on it because I do have them to be. I have a list of stuff that I can put in show notes, and the Brownells retro ARs are one of them. So
Okay,
someday,
I
so
really,
we'll talk about it eventually.
eventually, yes.
yeah, and I like them. Colt, I think, did the 1 in 12, but Troy also built their own retro. So there's a market out there that you can just buy a retro AR. I mean, at this point, and why the heck not? Before you had to build them, find all the parts, go all over, contact Sarco, and get everything out of their dingy, freaking moldy place. Yes, I've been to Sarco. I go there all the time. It's great, but still, you leave there going, "Wow, I felt like I came out of my grandpa's basement." Um, yeah, the whole place just smells like grandpa's basement. Nice guys, a lot of stuff. Grandpa's basement.
Okay, Tony, guess what? It's time for you to tout everything diverse you do.
And we'd like to thank Sarco for sponsoring. No, diversity shoots coming up April 5th, Gun for Hire Range, Woodland Park, New Jersey. We're trying to do something different. We're setting things up. We're developing because we had a ton of people come through on February 1st. So we're trying to get it down to a level that won't have the fire marshal shut us down. Um, you can come out. We're still going to have around the same pricing structure. We're working on having just 3 guns from off of their wall of freedom. And we're going to feature 3 different guns every diversity shoot, which will be awesome. We're just going to pick out some cool stuff that you may not have gotten before. Plus, we're going to have dedicated, as always, we have dedicated volunteers to introduce new people to firearms. We're also going to have companies coming in and actually running a port on their own. You're going to be introduced to them, and then you're going to go there and shoot their stuff. So it's going to be pretty cool because we're trying to set it up so you're introduced to new companies every time you come into a diversity shoot. We're trying to grow this thing, especially when our rights are being assaulted like they are right now. We really have to introduce new people to this sport and help it grow, and also show that we really care about people. The media is pushing this whole thing. The NRA is a terrorist organization. Well, the reason, obviously, we have this war on terror has been going on so long is because people don't know what an actual terrorist is. Not one, not one active shooter has been a member of the NRA. But I know an NRA instructor shot one of the last active shooters in Texas. So we're not the enemy. We're good people. And that's why I host a diversity shoot, so we can introduce people of every race, background, gender, sexual orientation, no matter who you are or where you come from. We want to introduce you to firearms in a safe, non-judgmental way and show you that we're decent people that welcome all human beings. If you want to help us out, you can donate to our GoFundMe. We have that information in the show notes, or you can just go to GoFundMe and type in 2A4E, or the second is for everyone. If you want to donate monthly to our Patreon, you can go to Patreon and type in 2A4E, or the second is for everyone, and we'll come up. We also run our own podcast. Sean and I host it every week. Go to diversityshoot.com and you can download our podcast. And look at our stuff on Instagram at Simon Says Train, and second is for everyone on Facebook. So I'd like to thank you, like I do every week, for allowing me to come on and talk about this. I really appreciate it, because I've been on here for over 150 episodes now, maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say over 2 years. So
yeah, I've gone back, because I was going back today to find out when we use this AK optic.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I'm like, okay, episode 139 and going, and I was still there then. So, hey, thanks guys for having me on the show.
Yep. Now we're on to our wrap up. Send questions or comments to gungearreview@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv. Be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and industry coverage. Check us out on Facebook at /Firearms Insider. Follow us at Firearms Insider on Instagram. And thank you for listening to the largest pound for pound podcast on the network. And we are out.
Bye, Felicia.